Hi, thanks for tuning in to Treat Life Cooking. I'm Natasha, back at it with a recipe for baked beans. Now, it's easy enough to buy baked beans at the store, but this recipe for baked beans has multiple benefits. Number one, it's super cheap. Secondly, it cuts down a lot of the sugar that you find in store-bought baked beans, and it's incredibly easy to make. Perfect for the summer, goes well with be it hot dogs, barbecue, perfect addition to your picnic table or your summer barbecue. Let's get into it. Here I have a pot with this is 4 strips of bacon. And bacon is going to add like some nice meaty flavor, but aside from the few strips of bacon, there won't be actual meat in it. It's really just a flavor enhancer. It's not turning this into like a meat-centered side. So just have the fire going under this and going to let it heat for a bit. I'm going to just turn the fire off. Just strain the grease off of the bacon and just reserve it. Half a pound of great northern beans. I'm gonna have beans in the pot. I'm gonna fill this up with some water, just enough to cover. The beans I'm gonna put on the fire, bring them to a boil, and then just let them sit overnight in that hot water, and that's gonna help to soften them. I have a bowl, and I'm actually just going to pour off the liquid from our beans. We're not gonna dump this. We're gonna reserve it, but I wanna mix in the other ingredients into the beans, and I'm not quite sure how much of the liquid I'm going to need, so I'm just going to pour it off for a moment. Alright, so now here we have the pot with our beans. If you have a Dutch oven, it would actually be perfect at this point because you can take it from the stove top to the oven. And as you can see, the beans have plumped up and they're actually quite a bit soft. Some recipes will call for you to soak them, then cook them. In this case, because we boil them the night before and let them sit, they're pretty soft. It's going to go into the oven to bake, and so there's no need to cook it again because it's just going to end up being mush. Baking it in the oven is going to cook it the rest of the way, so that one step, and we'll proceed from here into the oven. But first I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. Half of an onion, some adobo or seasoning salt or regular salt, just bearing in mind that we didn't add some before, a bit of black pepper, some paprika, some garlic powder, a bit of some mustard powder, or ground mustard, apple cider vinegar, which will give it a little bit of tang, some ketchup, brown sugar, just a little tip of maple syrup, if you think of it like maple brown sugar, just a little tip of hoisin. And this, you can give it a stir. Then last but not least, we're going to add in our bacon. I have my bacon pan, and I'm just going to pour over the beans. Now I'm going to pour back over some of that liquid. So when we check it about halfway through, if the beans still need more time, we have some reserved liquid in case like the liquid dries out before it's fully done. Let's see how tender they are. The flavor is great. I think we have enough liquid actually, so that liquid that I was reserving, I'm going to pour off. But I'm going to put this back into the oven and let it keep cooking. The beans need more time. And I'm actually going to turn the oven up a bit. So right now I have it at 350, that's what it's been cooking at. I'm going to put it back in at 400 this time. And so now then, these are our beans straight out of the oven. Some of the liquid has evaporated, but it's still a bit liquidy. But as this cools, that liquid that's in there is actually going to thicken, as is what typically happens with beans. So I let it bake the first time at 350 for 45 degrees. I put it back in for a half hour at 400 degrees. And then when I took it out, I wanted to thicken the liquid a little bit to have some of it evaporate. So I put it back in for about 20 minutes uncovered. And this is it after that amount of time. As this cools, the liquid is going to thicken. And if you still feel like it's not quite thick enough for you, you can take some of the beans, put it into like a little mini blender with a little bit of the liquid and just blend it until it's smooth. Add it back in and stir it throughout, and it'll help it to thicken. But I actually think this is going to be perfectly fine. It just needs to cool. Alright, there we have it.
Thanks for tuning in. To ensure you don't miss any episodes, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and check out my cooking at home playlist. Go ahead and click that thumbs up button if you like what you saw, and go ahead and share it on social media.